all day.
Welcome to the idea of where we discover, that's not it, where we explore the noise, the nuance, and everything in between. I'm Mike,
And I'm Bassey.
and this is a space where culture, creativity, and conversations collide.
And I'm annoyed. That's who I am, actually.
Right. We're in our hoodie flow today. I feel like
Yeah.
we got hoodie flow. Yeah, I'm annoyed too. But it is fall. Fall feels good. Do you
Do
like
you
fall?
like fall? I hate fall. I'm a summer
What?
person. I love the summer.
Fall is
I'm a
trash.
summer person. No, I'd rather be hot than cold. I love summer. I love the summer. I love the heat. I love the outside. I love it all.
Summer is horrible. Moving to North Carolina really emphasized how much I hate summer.
Because it's
Like
hot.
it's tropical. It's a tropical climate here in the summertime, right? It's like when I used to go to Miami in the summertime and we knew every day between 4 and 6 it was going to be a thunderstorm, right? We knew it. So we planned our day around it. And I didn't think it was like that in North Carolina. It's the same thing. In the summer months, it's 95 degrees, 100% humidity. There's no escaping from it, and everywhere you go, it's hot. Like, you can't like, when you go into some place, you expect the AC to, like, hit you, like, there's none of that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
love the heat.
for a
I'm a
couple.
summer child.
Yeah.
I was born in the summer in a tropical country. I love being I hate the snow. I can do a little bit with fall-ish. Like, no, I like the summer.
I wonder if it's something about when you're born, because I was born in January. I was actually born in a blizzard, the blizzard of '77 in New York, and I always feel like I feel a kinship to the cold weather. Like, I
It
just
might
don't
be that.
it might be
It might be that. I was born on a hot day in a hot country, super Leo.
super
I just
Leo.
like I like heat. I like warmth.
Thank you for listening to the idea of. We're going to
Oh,
start
right,
the
right,
right
right, right.
way. We're going to start with, follow us, like, share, comment. We are the Idea Pod on everything. I think I have a comment to read, Bossy. I think there's one small comment somewhere. But you know what? One of our episodes randomly, I was looking at analytics the other day, and one of our episodes about the conspiracy theory one, remember that
Mm,
one?
mm.
It got like ridiculous amounts of views. Like, I thought it was a mistake. I was like, what? It was just,
Really? Why?
I don't know. I have no idea. And so the way that it looks like on Spotify behind the scenes, right? Spotify has Riverside uploads to Spotify. And so it keeps its own analytics separate from, Apple Podcasts and all the other ones. And so on Spotify, it tells you how many. Wait, let me tell you exactly, because I think this is important. It's really interesting. It tells you how many plays. Is that what it says? Dang, and of course now I'm tripping. Hold on. No, this is important. This is important because there might be a reason. So it tells you how many streams and downloads, and then it tells you how many Spotify plays. I don't quite know what the difference is between those things, but in my mind, it's like people that look at it just on Spotify is its own category. And all of ours Spotify played numbers have been around the like 70, 80 range. 50 is like the mid, like between 50 and 80. And
Right.
the conspiracy theory one had 800, like 800 Spotify plays.
I
And
wonder why.
right. And then the streams and downloads, I feel like that is like the traditional way, like if people just are on their app or I don't know, that number is always within the like 100 to 150 range. And that one has 260 streams and downloads since it was released, 2 weeks ago. And so it's just that one just spiked. I have no idea how or why. It's just really interesting.
Wow.
That's what we were
Wow, wow,
talking about.
wow.
Charlie Kirk and
That
some of
might be why.
that might be one of we talked about him before. Anyway, so I don't know if I read this last time. Yeah, I think I read one by the Shady Dame last time, but this
Yeah.
one, Tyler Thompson, I don't know if you know them, made a
Tyler,
comment.
the creator. No, it's not.
Oh, look, it was meant to be. The idea of saying the quiet parts out loud. Now, I'm not sure what Tyler was saying, like what she, I think it's a she based on the picture, was responding to. But she says, I think one of the best things you can be is wrong. I see it as potential or a chance to learn, grow, and have open dialogue. Unfortunately, I think this mindset is seen as naive or idealistic, and maybe it is, but it's unrealistic to believe a person will always be right.
Yes, 100. Yes, Tyler, 100%.
What was
It's not naive because I 100%. That's how I feel about it. I get very, very distressed when people get so locked in. I was saying on a group thread, it's a form of respectability politics from people who
I remember now.
seem or appear to not believe in respectability politics, but this idea that everyone should get things right 100% of the time is not only is it unrealistic, it is inhumane. That's not how people work.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's just only here where people feel just here now, where people feel justified in judging people from their worst moments and using their worst moments as a definition of who they are. That's that's wrong on all levels. I think it's kind of evil. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Okay, now I remember you commenting. This is what we were talking about in the episode, what she was responding to. So, yeah, and I mean, absolutely agree, and that goes into what we were talking about right before we press record. We were talking about the situation with Tyler the Creator right now. Can you give some context? Because I wasn't looped into everything until you mentioned it a couple days ago, and then
Mm.
that's all I've been seeing for the past 2 days
Okay,
since you.
so I'm gonna explain it, but I'm also going to confirm up front that I have a bias towards Tyler because people are like, oh, you're just biased. Yes, I am, 100%.
Yeah,
So last week when D'Angelo passed, rest in peace, D'Angelo, we didn't record until after it happened.
yeah.
When D'Angelo passed, Tyler wrote this really emotional, heartfelt tribute to D'Angelo, starting from when he was 9 years old and used his birthday money to buy voodoo, and how D'Angelo has shaped his musical career. He said there's a song, I think the song is on Call Me If You Get Lost. And he was talking about how it's a direct influence from a D'Angelo song. And he was just really just going into just how heartbroken he was at this. And it was a beautifully penned tribute.
Mhm.
I didn't see it, what happened afterwards, because I don't generally read comments, but his white fans were basically like being very disrespectful, like, who is this? Nobody cares. What about, like, when's your next out? Like, really just being disrespectful about somebody that he very
Wow.
clearly was heartbroken about and was grieving and mourning. And on Twitter, a lot of people noticed this, and they were like, the problem is that his white fans haven't grown with him. His white fans aren't engaging in black art, in black art the same way that he has learned to engage with black art. And he's uh, disappointed is not the word that they use, but like disappointed, heartbroken, sad at the fact that that as much as he's loved and championed black art, his audience isn't engaging with it the same way.
Mm.
And he was liking posts that were saying things like that. There was one like Tyler is tired of his white fans, and he was like liking these posts. I don't know what happened between that, because to me, when I saw that, I was like, I've been saying that Tyler's annoyed at his white fans. I've said Kendrick is annoyed at his white fans because
Yeah,
they
he
do
has
not
been saying that.
engage on
Yeah.
a deep level with the work. So there's that. Somewhere between that, there became this thing where people, black women, sorry, love us, but black women started going back to his old tweets when he was 18 and talking about how much he hates black people, black women, he's anti-black, his misogynoir, like all these like, different things. And they were talking about it as though it happened yesterday. They were
Mm.
talking about it as though it was recent things that was said and was done. And what I noticed was that everybody was quoting one line from one song from his first album as proof of all of this. And a friend of mine, because after Chromacopia, I was like, oh, uh, uh, Tyler must he's really like exploring his blackness. And she corrected me. She was like, he's been doing this since his second album because
Yeah.
his first album was written when he was like 14, 15, and he was just being like an angry, depressed teenager,
Right.
isolated, depressed
Right.
teenager. Um, and you can see like the growth and the fact that he's never said anything except for that one line, which is a terrible line, which is like it's something like black bitches are mad that my bitch vanilla or something like that. That's the line from that one song. And then also like I think in interviews he said like people are like, "Oh, you don't like black women." He's like, "They don't like me." And this is again 19, 20
Yeah.
year old Tyler, and they're just using all of that as proof and saying that he deserves the backlash that he's getting from his white fans because he created them. He cultivated and curated an anti-black environment, which is just patently untrue. It is
Wow.
untrue. And acting as though, and Rod actually brings it up, like he was like manipulating and calculated. He's like, "Oh, my first audience is going to be anti-black, and then eventually they're gonna like it, like this like mastermind cult leader type thing." And if you like I said, Brianna, I think her name's Brianna, Fly Science, she was like, look at this interview, watch this interview. And I was able to go and watch at least 5 years, but going back 10 years worth of interviews where he's addressed it, where
Mm.
he said that this is what has happened, this is why it happened, and this is how he's been moving forward. His evolution and growth is 100% documented in the work, but people who don't listen to him, don't watch his interviews, are having these very staunch he hates black people takes that are actually very, I want to say violent, but that's not the word that I'm thinking of, but like very white supremacist.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very white supremacist. It's it's who you were at this point in your life is who you're ever going to be, and that's what it's carceral. It's carceral.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah,
It's
that's good.
carceral.
Yeah.
It's just been it's gotten increasingly, and I had to take TikTok off my phone because my algorithm was showing it to me too much because I had engaged with one of them. But it's gotten to the point where it became almost maniacal, where people were like enraged and up in arms about something they heard from somebody else. Um, I saw a comment where I'm probably explaining this really wrong, audience, but just walk with me. I saw a comment where somebody said his first album, maybe two albums, were a character he was playing and a point of view that he's outgrown and he's not doing that anymore. I kid you not. Hold on, I gotta find it because the response was so unhinged that I was like, this is weird. This is very, very strange. Okay, so the comment says, the first comment, okay, let's backtrack here. Most of Tyler the Creator's work in the past was based off of multiple POVs. He has stated this multiple times. I feel like a lot of y'all haven't really taken the time to listen to him, to understand his sense of direction with his music. And again, Tyler has always come off as a different type of Black artist, which most of y'all would never want to listen because he's different. This is a response. You heard that, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Normal, measured. This is
Yeah.
the response to that message. Fuck
Okay.
you and fuck him too. I do not give a fuck what POV he was speaking from. I truly hate slow people. I have no pity for a man who benefited from misogynoir. Be for real.
Wow.
What?
What? Who pissed on her cornflakes? God, dog.
But it's that's just an example. There are dozens of responses like that, which has me thinking, what is the actual issue? What is the
What's
problem?
what
Because it's not this. For you to say
what
fuck you to the black woman who said that, and then I put like a series of tweets, like I screenshot some tweets and I did like a photo carousel on TikTok. And the
uh,
amount of because you know how when you get I don't know, like when you get like offensive messages, it like folds it or it asks you whether or not you want to approve it. I got
uh,
so many people coming at me in the most disrespectful as a black woman defending esoteric black women that were so fucking vile and so fucking disgusting and disrespectful that it literally makes no sense. You're defending the concept of black women based on this, and you are pointedly disrespecting an actual black woman who did not say anything that was
Right.
anti-black women. Like,
Right.
how does this make sense to you? And it makes sense to them. And it is very carceral. It's people who want to have the power to persecute, prosecute, and condemn people.
Yeah. What is going on? Yo, like
It's
that
insane.
is oh, man, there's so many this week. This week, like my counseling hat has been on. Like I was like digging deep into, some psychological counseling, group theory type things and watching how the net has been moving, like how people have been operating on the net. Like something is, I think you said it, carceral. I think people are so hurt right now. I think people are hurting and are unable to place why they're hurting.
Mhm.
And so, the fake psychologists, and social media therapists, hurt people. But I think in reality, I think that shit is real right now. I feel like
Absolutely.
everybody, white, black, men, women across the border are displacing their anger with the world, with society, with our government, with the president. Am I glitching right now? Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like something is off. Like something is off with the way people are engaging with each other. Um, I think there's something related to the death of Charlie Kirk. I feel like the algorithms are like searching for that kind of engagement. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah.
because for whatever reason, for better or for worse, the death of Charlie Kirk caused such a kerfuffle online. And I
Mhm,
think the powers that be were like, yes, this is what
mhm.
we want. We want this. We want white people blaming black people. We want black people defending shit that they don't even know about. We want the confusion. We want the chaos, right? And that's what I've been seeing this week. Like this Tyler story is not an the story that is what you just explained is not even what the focus should be on. The
Mhm.
focus should be on, wow, look at this black man and how he has evolved in public, in real life, how his personal reflections online, whatever they may be on Twitter, has aligned with who he is as a man now. And most importantly, maybe not most importantly, but what I haven't heard people talk about is how his music has changed as a result. You know what I'm saying? Like on the most
Because they
basic
don't listen to
level,
his music.
they don't listen to it's clear. They don't listen to his music. And like on the basic level, I remember I worked at the University of Maryland when Odd Future came out. And all the kids, were telling me, oh, Mr. Andrews, you gotta listen to this. And I listened to it and I was like, this ain't for me, bro. Like this
Mhm.
is for y'all, like angry angst teenage music. I'm not with it, right? And I literally remember sitting at the front desk in OMSI at the University of Maryland and these four kids were like, it might have no, it wasn't even iPods yet. They had like a speaker, like a Bluetooth speaker, and they were playing it in the office. I was like, what the fuck? What is this shit? You know what I'm saying? Um, to when I think it was Igor came out, and that was the first time where I was like, oh, this dude's an artist. Like he's really on some other, like he's a soul artist. And that was Igor was the album where people were upset because he was like singing and it was like more melodic and
Yeah.
he was a rapper, right? And I was like, oh shit, he's mad talented to where Chromacopia is. And us having the privilege to see and hear that, like that's where the focus of this conversation should be. Yeah, he said some wild shit, like every 16-year-old boy and girl and who says,
Especially one that was going through what it is he was going through at the time, which he's also spoken about.
which he's talked about, which is all throughout his music, right? And
Mhm.
to bring that full circle into the skits on Chromacopia, where he's talking to his mom and he's talking about relationships and he's talking about growing up and dealing with some of these ghosts of his past. Like, come on, like, and we're focusing on literally 15-year-old tweets. Like, what are we, what, why? What
So
purpose is
listen,
that?
in 2011, I had to look for it. In 2011, for The Root, I wrote an article for The Root called My Odd Fascination with Odd Future.
You shared
Because,
that with me. That was a dope
right,
article.
because my father, my brother was like, you have to listen to them. And like you, I was like, no, thank you. And the only reason why I even engaged because I thought Frank Ocean was related to Billy Ocean, and I was like, oh, I like Frank Ocean. I don't know if I like these other people, but I want to read a part that sticks with me every time this comes on because we are old enough to remember the Beastie Boys. We're old enough to
Yeah,
remember when Fight for Your Right to Party and like all this like real like frat boy stuff. And we watch them go from that into like these Buddhist yoga free
that's right.
Tibet people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we allow that to happen. We don't allow that for Black artists, but there's a specific place. Shoot, where is it? There was a part where I was talking about discarding people before they're even old enough to buy a beer,
Yeah, yeah, I
and
remember
that
that line.
happens too much. It happens
Yeah,
too much to Black people, to Black artists, and no, to Black kids.
to
We
black
question
kids.
why the media and we'll see a 17-year-old Black boy and call them a 17-year-old man or a 15-year-old little girl and say this young woman. Like we question that, but this is exactly what we're doing as well when it comes to these things.
Yeah,
We're divorcing the youth aspect of it. We're disallowing children to get things wrong and
yeah,
then eventually get them right, because we are labeling them as one thing. And one of the things that, I mean, we know one of the things that children fear the most is being, have you ever, let me go back. Have you ever, for lack of a better word, accused your child of doing something that they didn't do?
yes,
Have do you see how emotional
yes,
that they get, like emotional, like
yes,
unable to like regulate, different from when they get caught doing something they did do. Like trying to
absolutely.
blame them for something they did not do is, it's they get almost feral at it. And so we're doing that to these kids all the time, and we get upset and offended when white people do it. Yet we find justification for doing it because I'm all over the place. I always usually am. But I find it disgusting that people feel like if they're on the quote unquote right side of things, they have every right and permission to be nasty, to be violent, to be vile, to be evil, to be destructive, all because they're on the quote unquote right side. And
Yep,
that boggles my mind. Like that response that I read, fuck you and fuck him too. Where would you ever speak to somebody like that because they offered a
right.
perspective that you don't have? That's
Yeah,
insanity. And if it
that's
was,
great.
I want to be like, what about ism? But if it was flipped, that would be unacceptable. But because you
Yeah.
think you're on the right side of things, it's okay.
Yeah, I think it shows, I think it reflects a so many different narratives. This is why I saw one article or one reference to this recently, and it was from a black woman that was actually, and I'm going to be all over the place too, but I'm going to try to tie it back in. A
Mm,
black woman, I should get her name and shout her out because she was talking about, she's a researcher, I believe. She's a historian, and she, I believe, is getting her PhD in artificial intelligence or something computer related from Harvard. And
mm,
she said that ChatGPT, OpenAI, and all of these different, AI companies, there is a leveling out right now of the productivity in AI because there are aspects of data that are still in the reserve that aren't digitized yet, right?
mhm,
And so she was making the point that there needs to be more researchers and social scientists and philosophers and
mhm,
psychologists basically find all this information and work with companies to digitize it so that AI can continue to evolve. And
Mhm.
so she's very aware of, the dangers of AI, but basically the reason why it is becoming so dangerous is because it's almost like the system is regurgitating the same old shit, right?
Mhm.
And she was making a ploy, basically a request for kids and parents to not villainize the arts, not to villainize like the power of working with people and looking at information and deciding like what's true and what's not and critical thinking. And so what you're describing and what we're talking about, I think of so much of what we talk about is people's inability to communicate well, right? Like people's inability to talk and to decipher information on different levels and to be, you know, to align themselves on some level with what they're talking about. So everything is like binary,
Mhm.
right? Like we are starting almost to operate like the computers, where
Mhm.
it's like either right, wrong. And if it's not right, then of course you're wrong. And we're going to
Yeah.
tell you how wrong you are and not going to give you any, um, any justice. We're not going to give you any right to change your mind. Like we were talking about last week, we're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And if you're shown to be wrong, especially online, then people can continue to like beat you up on some just on the dumbest shit. So it's like I'm hearing that. I'm also hearing like I've always looked at it from, and this is where my bias comes in and my bias towards like the complexities of black manhood and black boyhood, talking about tons of research, and we all know, especially with sons, we know like this that society looks at our boys as 4 to 6 years older than they actually are,
Women
right? Like if
too.
it's
Girls, black
yeah.
girls as well. Yeah.
See, yeah, I was gonna say like
Black
I was
children
so
are.
right. I was so attuned to, the experience that, that I had with my sons and just the research and focus on black boys. And in that research, I discovered that, oh shit, like black girls are going through the same things, over punished, over disciplined in schools. A
Mhm.
12-year-old is assumed to be 18 on the boy side and girl side. And so the reason why that's so nefarious and why that's so like it's evil in a way. And I feel like we have to, I'm all over the place.
It's fine.
Let me
That's
back
what
up.
we do.
The reason why it's so insidious that that's a reality is because it's not just about assuming that a 12-year-old boy or girl is 16 or 18. It's about assuming that their mind and that their thoughts and that their references are also 18 when they're really 12, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And 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 reaffirming or punishing or rewarding them on how they're perceived versus the age that they actually are. It's just
Right.
such a
Right.
and so, it causes the kids to grow up differently. It causes our kids to see themselves differently. I think to be extra critical of themselves so much earlier. And a lot of what we're seeing in these Tyler tweets are really, if folks were really about it and really cared about blackness and black youth and black experiences, they'd be exploring like, damn, like what is it about his social experiences that has him feeling that way? And why were so many kids, black kids at that age, connecting with what he was experiencing? Like that's really like the
That's the
conversation. Like, wow, like
conversation
that's
because
the
they're
conversation.
putting it on the fact that he doesn't only have white fans. Like that's not true. I heard
Right,
about him because of black kids at that age. My
right.
brothers were much younger at the time and their friends, and I think something that as black people on the internet, we need to also start having conversations about how we allow people to share their experiences, right?
Mm,
We have these conversations right now with like foundational Black Americans and ADOS or whatever, where an African will say, I was called African booty scratcher. And they'll say, no, you weren't. What do you mean? No, you
Mm,
weren't. Like, we don't know each other personally, but but
right.
you're because you weren't part of whatever experience this person had, you're invalidating that person's experience in a way that you wouldn't do in any other situation. So when Tyler says, and people like Tyler says, I was weird and black folks in my neighborhood didn't fuck with me because I was weird. No, you weren't. You just choosing not to
Right.
be around black people. He was in Compton or wherever and weird. He was in South Central LA skateboarding
Right.
and being a weirdo. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like you cannot invalidate that and say
Yeah.
when he says, I like black girls, but they didn't like me. He was weird. He
Right.
was weird
Right.
by any standard.
And I and you remember, we're of the age, and I'm not afraid to say we're of the age where we didn't like weird niggas in high school
Nah,
and middle school. Like
nah.
there just wasn't. That's why I praise this generation so much more, because you can walk into a high school and the
Mhm.
weird niggas is they're it's more weird niggas than regular,
Yeah.
than
And the
regular folk.
weird niggas are friends with the popular, like it's a whatever. But that's what I'm saying because people are saying, and people even our generation are saying, but you're not the only black kid who likes anime. You're not the only black kid who likes X. You were the only black one in your neighborhood. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't hop online and find a bunch of people just like you. You were the only one. You and some other person were the only ones in your
Right.
neighborhood. And then just I'm using Tyler as like the example because despite that, he did manage to find 15 friends and create Odd Future with black kids,
Right.
right? He did
Right.
something
Right.
with that and then was able to like slowly grow and progress and evolve from that. If you look at, and this is another thing, every time like a black artist either passes away or there's some reason to honor them, he goes so in depth about what it is that he likes about it. I'm gonna okay, sorry. Comparing him to Doja Cat has been the thing that has boggled my mind the most because Doja Cat has never engaged with her blackness. He's never even admitted that she's black at all. She's a white person. He interrogates his blackness all the
Really?
time.
Time out. Time out. Time out.
Doja, yes.
One, I didn't know Doja Cat was black.
Are you joking?
I mean, no, I assumed that she looked like mixed of some sort, but I didn't know that she was black, a black person. I didn't know. But I
Her
also
father is South
don't
African.
know. Get out of here.
Her
Like
father
African African? I mean,
do you
like
remember
black.
do you remember that movie Shit? Shit. Amandla, is that what it's
Who?
called? There's a movie back in the day that was about South African kids, South African township. Whoopi Goldberg was in it. I completely forgot the name of the movie. Cry Freedom. No, was it Cry
Mm.
Freedom? It was I gotta find it. But her father was in that movie. So, but she was raised by
Oh,
her
get out
white
of here.
mother in LA. Hold on, I
Uh,
gotta find this movie. Is it Cry Freedom?
Nothing about Doja Cat. I really did not know she was black. I didn't know. I didn't know.
As is the point.
Who?
No, like well,
Right,
that's
right,
the
right,
point.
right,
Like
right.
she doesn't
Exactly.
engage with her blackness at all. And to compare her
Yeah.
with
Wow.
or compare that to Tyler is just false. Like you don't know anything about this kid. And I don't want to make it just about Tyler, but he's the example right now.
Yeah.
But what I was saying before is that his knowledge and influence for him to say I was 9 years old and saved up my birthday money to buy Voodoo by D'Angelo. That is so specific. 9 years old.
Yeah.
This is 9, 10 years before he became part of the public eye or before he became a star or known to people. So when he was 9 years old, this is what he was about. And he says that all the time. When Roy Ayers passed away, he was the same thing. When he talks about Pharrell, when he talks
Yeah.
about like his influences are so niche according to like the world, but also when it comes to black people, a lot of black people aren't engaging with those kind of musical styles. They don't know who these people are. But he studied those
Yeah.
people. And part of his
Right.
evolution as an artist was because of his influence on those people. And you compare that to Drake. We talk about Drake every whatever, but like whenever Drake says that he likes something, he's like, this is the best person who ever existed. There's no specifics. There's no, this is the song that changed my life. This is the moment when I heard this. There's none of that. Whereas Tyler will say, it was the third chord in the second verse that made me think, ah, da, da, da.
Right. Right.
He studies the shit. It's not performative. And people want him to
Yeah.
perform in a very specific way. And they want a lot of people to perform. Because as we're talking, I'm getting like notifications. And people are like, well, he hasn't named and shamed it. What are you talking about? You want him to perform,
What is that?
you want him to perform and stand in front of you and say, I denounce me
Th-
myself when I was
There
18.
is
Like, come on.
there is an incessant need of the public. This is a part of how I've been deciphering this the past couple weeks. There is a need. I feel like our society is fueled by the tears and apologies of Black people.
Hmm.
Like they need it. They
Hmm.
need us to be contrite. They need us to be sobbing and to be, in a place of disempowerment. I think it is a part of why the administration continues
Sorry.
to go after
Serafina.
Black women.
Serafina. His
Yeah,
dad,
yeah, yeah.
her
Oh, her
dad
dad?
played Crocodile in Serafina. But I'll let you continue in a second. But this is her name. Doja Cat's real name is, and I'm going to pronounce it terribly, Amala Ratna Zandile Dlamini. She's South African. South
Oh,
African. Yes.
wow. I didn't
Yeah.
know
But
that.
her dad played Crocodile in Serafina. It was coming to me. But sorry, go ahead.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. I did
Yeah.
not know that. That makes me listen to her. That might make me listen to her music a little differently because I think she's so talented. Like she's dope. She goes left a little bit too much for me anyway. But yeah, part of what's been challenging to digest and to like maneuver through these past couple weeks is I've just been super aware of how white people have been acting on the internet and how Black people are acting on the internet, right? Like
Hmm.
there's a glaring difference in the rules of engagement online and what the expectations are. And I feel like, you know, it's so very clear to me that the internet is fueled by Black people, right? Like I feel like our energy, our content, but also our reactions makes the internet what it is. And it's not just like Black Twitter. It's not is more sinister than that. And I feel like on some level we're being used.
Well, what do you mean by
On
sinister?
every level. I feel like there are things that are placed into our algorithms that those that be, like the powers that be, are
Hmm.
placing to create a reaction from Black people that is going to increase engagement, increase viewership, sell more ads, and it's not done from a place of, it's not done from a pure place. It's done from a sinister place to make Black people angry and to
Hmm.
keep us in a state of like not even fight or flight. It's like fight, intensify, fight. Like, what can we put out there to make Black people angry so that we can chastise them for being angry? And then we can, change the topic and it's like, we talked about being gaslighted by the country or
Hmm.
gaslit by the country. I feel that when it comes to engagement online, the Tyler story, the Drake and Kendrick story, the Stephen A. Smith story, all of this shit that we are consuming, the LeBron James story, like all of these different content pieces they're just fodder to make Black people angry and then make Black people apologize. Like that is like the cycle of what keeps the people going, right? Like
Wait,
the
so
provocative nature of the internet is just
well, no, but
what?
so
What is it?
are you saying that? I mean, I agree on one hand, but are you also saying that it is the goal of okay, so are you saying that black people are falling into it or they're imitating it? Like what it which that's what I don't understand.
I feel that the powers of the internet, right? Like the machine that the internet is, namely social media, but I think different aspects of social media and the internet. I think the fuel that it runs on is emotion,
Hmm.
right? Like it is based on the reactions and the emotions of people. And what it appears to me and what I can't quite put my finger on, and maybe I'm not doing a good job like verbalizing it, but I feel like black people are the fuel and the engine to to make the internet and to make social media what it is,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we know what a powerful tool it is, and we know that this generation, when we talk about the 2000s, we're going to be talking about the impact of social media and the billion-dollar companies that are front sourcing and outsourcing our culture, the American culture, is targeting black people and targeting our icons in different ways to cause reactions, to create reactions within us, to engage in these ways so that we can, be chastised for how we engage. And then the cycle starts over again.
So
And I feel like black people are being duped into it
I agree up
on
until
some
that
level.
last part. I agree up until that last part because I think that black people online are disproportionately powerful. And I say that because black people control
Hmm.
culture and social media culture is
Hmm.
also dictated by what it is that black people are engaging with, like you said. When we found out that a lot of these arguments are started by bots, when it came out that Russian bots were being thrown in to like bring up certain things, and then those things got picked up by real life people and became real
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
online issues because nobody in the real world is talking about, you know, Aboriginal black people. Not in the way that they're doing it online.
Right.
It's disproportionate. What I think is going on, and it might be for both of us because we are only I don't know what white people do online. I only see what is being reacted to. They're not on my feed in any way. I know like four black white people. I think there is a social political narcissism that is taking over these conversations where the only thing that matters
Hmm.
is how you feel about whatever the topic is. When somebody says to me, and people are going to hate this and turn off right now, when somebody tells me that X has harmed black people, what are you talking about exactly? Let's get specific. How does what this person has done or said, how does Tyler's actions at 18-year-old harm black people? Be specific. When you're talking about a Charlie Kirk, that harms black people because of the scope, because it doesn't live online, it lives outside. Not only does it live outside, it is a dog whistle to people who are able to enact laws, physical violence,
Hmm.
physical or
Yeah.
emotional harm in a way that impacts black people en masse, where it becomes dangerous for black people, for people to not
Hmm.
only connect with but also enact things that a Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump, whoever. That is tangible to me. When we're online saying that a song that an 18-year-old, a 15-year-old wrote, and we heard when he was 18, harms black people 15 years later, I need you to be specific. I need you to tell me exactly what that means. except for the fact, and I apologize in advance, you are choosing at this point to be hurt by this. And my question is, why is that the choice you're making when you could choose literally anything else? When the evidence that what you think is harming you no longer exists, yet you are tied to that. I need to know what the actual conversation is. I need to know I need to know what that's coming from. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what I gravitate toward because I think that white people can do whatever white people do. But when it comes to us online, what is our
Mhm.
decision here? What are we doing right now? Because I don't see how that is harmful in the same way, excuse me, in the same way that these other people are actually enacting harms and situations towards Black people or towards people in general, but specifically Black people,
Yeah,
specifically more than that, white Black women. I don't understand. I don't understand why people are so violently or speaking about this so violently. I don't understand that. And the only way that I
yeah,
can make sense of it is that it is a sound like Kanye, slavery is a choice. I don't mean that. But it is a choice to be this enraged and talking about it for a week straight when the catalyst was his white fans were being disrespectful to a Black legend. Like that was the catalyst for all that. How did that, him being upset about that, turn into he
right.
shouldn't be upset because of what he did when he was 18? Like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, no, I feel you, and I completely agree. Uh, part of we're gonna have an episode. It's coming. It's coming soon about how Kanye be right about things. It's coming. It's
All
coming. It's
right.
coming. I don't.
Um,
It's something.
Chad, I would like
The
to say
tide
that
is
I
shifting.
I have not said a word about this.
It's
This is
coming.
completely coming from Mike Andrews, not me. Dr. Michael Andrews, not
It is
me.
coming. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. The
All right, now you
culture
need to
is
be
shifting.
specific. Right
Anyway,
about what?
no, no. I no. I just think that there. I think the narrative for Kanye, really for the what we're talking about right now. I feel like the conversation that we've been chatting about on text with Gucci.
Let's
I
just bring
think
that up.
the
Yeah.
evolution of how folks are talking about mental health and not just like depression or not just feeling down. I think that what I'm reading in the comment section under how Gucci's wife has placed like some very specific behaviors that are tied to Gucci's diagnosis,
Hmm.
I see people be like, damn, it's like that. And it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, nigga, it is like that. Like,
Yeah.
and people have been showcasing what it is. And I think the one line that she said that I think went under the radar a little bit is she said that they, both of them, Gucci and her, can tell when other artists are going through it
Hmm.
by small things that they do, by, that they see. And she wants to reach out, but she doesn't want like a fan. Like that revelation, I think, is going to change some things for how Black folks look at mental health and
Hmm.
what it and some of the extreme aspects of mental health that we've written off as, oh, they're crazy, or Kanye's being Kanye again. There was so everything that he was saying that he goes through, and what the how his wife was explaining what he goes through. It was a playbook for what we've seen Kanye West go through for the past 10 years.
Hmm.
That was, potentially started by, when his mom passed away. Like there's a
Which
moment
people
and there's,
dismiss
so
as like a viable
I think
trigger.
there's going to be, yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely. When everybody was saying like, oh, this is happening because his mom passed away, it's like,
Like
yeah, I mean
dismissively.
that might have, might of course play into it, but there's other stuff going on here too, right? Like, and
Mhm.
they've been going on in front of our face since the good life, since
Since
Kanye first
college
came out.
dropout, to be quite
But I
honest.
also think that the I think a lot of how we are talking about Tyler can be a roadmap for how we talk about mental health, how we talk about celebrity, how we talk about fame, and how we talk about change in the Black community and Black culture, and how we digest social media. I think it's all related, and you know, I hope that people are able to see when the same way we were having the conversation about plants. Abbasi and I were having a text conversation about like some of the plants, like artists that have been planted into the culture to, create engagement, and so on and so forth. I think that there are plants, like cultural ideologies that are planted in different corners of social media that are there only to create confusion.
I agree with that.
And
That's
I
where I think
think the plants are
the bots come in.
created by the same people. I think the industry plants and the cultural collective thought plants are a part of the same insidious body of millionaires and billionaires that are trying to move people. And that's real, like that's real, minority report of me, but
Very. Because I think we're
it's all too
a
calculated.
few points where I disagree. The one point is that I don't think that industry plants are inherently negative. I just think they give a boost. I just think they position people to be successful in a way that would get them lost in like the indie circles, if not. So that's a lot of people have been playing it. Going back to like pre Motown, industry plants have existed. I have a whole theory on that. But
Mhm.
going back to Gucci Mane, I remember when it first came out, all of the things that his wife said that she did for him. Like she said, I make sure he eats, I make sure this, I make sure that. And at the time, the conversation was like, oh, he's a grown man. I wish I would marry somebody to be their mother, and like all of this. And then when you find out that she was doing this in order to create safety for his mental health, the conversation should be different. But time and time again, we go after
Mhm.
and we go off of our initial thought. And when more information is added, the initial thought still doesn't shift or change because the conversation now should be about mental health and what it is that we see and how it is that we instead of this idea, I think also, and I think that people's views on wealth do this too. Oh, they're rich, they shouldn't. Oh, they're rich, I don't care if. As opposed to mental illness does not care what's in your bank account. It really doesn't. I'm also a
Yeah.
quote unquote mental illness whisperer. I can tell by how somebody's tweeting or speaking or what have you that they are not okay mentally. Nicki Minaj is not okay mentally. And people refuse they say that she's on drugs, probably self-medicating, probably, but like rather than really say, okay, she's not okay. She's not well. I wonder what can happen now. The fact that people probably don't feel comfortable reaching out to her the same way they don't feel comfortable reaching out to Kanye. But the harm, I guess, and I'm starting to really hate that word, the harm of ignoring that is that it gives people who don't have the luxury of the money or the luxury of the fame to sort of slip through the cracks as well. And that is always going to be the issue. Like when you said that this thing with Gucci should absolutely change the conversation around mental health. Kanye should have changed, and it didn't. Lauren should have changed it, and she didn't. Like people are not going to want to engage in any of this from people that they think should be better off. And so they're not going to give them permission to not be better off because of all of these things that we've decided make people uh, I don't know. Go ahead. You're saying,
No, I would just say the sound has been a little choppy. I don't know
oh,
if it's your mic or connection or mine. I was piecing together. You were talking about Nicki Minaj, right?
yeah,
Were you
Nicki
talking about Nicki?
Minaj. Yeah, I was talking about Nicki. I was
Okay,
talking
okay, okay.
about
See,
just you
because
saying that these things should be able to change the conversation. And I was saying that we've had several times when conversations should be changed if they haven't been, because people refuse
yeah,
to
see,
engage critically.
I'm getting like every I'm getting like every third word from
Hold
you.
on.
I don't know if it's the connection or if it's the Wi-Fi. What?
It just said recording stopped. Why? I didn't do anything.
Talk? Can you say something?
Yeah, I'm talking. I'm saying things.
Yes.
You can't hear me?
It's a delay, like a 4-second delay, and
There was a
I'm still
delay
not
before
getting
with
every
you
word.
too. I don't think it says me this time.
I'm just gonna pause it and turn. I'm connected to the internet with the cable, but I'm gonna turn my Wi-Fi off. I didn't do that before, so I'm just gonna pause it and then start back up again. He's here, but I think we're good now. Am I still chopping? I still look choppy on my end. It's
Uh,
all good.
like it's a little tiny bit, but not enough to be concerned about. I honestly don't think it's me this time. I think I'm good. I think it's you. Is it still delay?
As you're coming in, like I see your mouth moving, and then 3 seconds later, the words come out. I
Really?
hear the words.
I mean, I seem
All
fine.
right.
You seem fine. Okay. I don't think it's me this time. Like nothing has happened on my end. There's been no errors.
Yeah, I mean, I just again.
I didn't say anything. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. I mean, just I know for me, I'm not gonna say like I'm just being more aware of what I'm digesting online, and I'm really genuinely trying to wean myself off of I wrote a piece at the beginning of the year maybe, and it was just basically like rules of engagement for Black people online. And
Which
my
are they?
general thought is regardless of whether I agree or disagree with someone's take or content or whatever it might be, I'm just not gonna badmouth Black people online.
Yeah.
I could like I think what that's the part of what I think the
Oh
internet
God.
is fueled off of. Oh, I lost you. Are you there?
You
I'm gonna
froze.
stop because I
Is it
lost
me?
Bossy's
Okay, maybe
picture.
this one is
I
me.
knew it was her. I told you. Let me stop. And we're back.
It wasn't my fault this time.
Technical difficulties. See, the algorithms heard us talking about Black people and they were like, nope, shut it down.
Yeah. I was about to say you were being a conspiracy theorist, but now I believe it.
I was definitely getting into my conspiracy theory bag.
It's like I agree with you, like I'm here with you, and then you go, and I'm like, wait, hold on. Stay right here.
Yeah, and that's real because I think that it's like these observations that seem that seem very real to me, but I don't know what it's for. I don't know. I don't know what's the ramification of
Mm,
what seems to be very obvious. It seems to be very obvious that Black people are being used when it comes to social media, when it comes to being online. But is it just like a repeating cycle? Is it just like, is it just for shits and giggles or is it for something more nefarious? I think it's for something more nefarious. And I think that it's the COINTELPRO. It's COINTELPRO of the modern times. It's all online. And
but COINTELPRO had a very. I think this is where going back to Nikki, like we talked about, she
well,
is absolutely right that these new rap girls were created to replace her. But that's what happens.
yeah.
That's the cycle of entertainment. No one's supposed to last that long. It's been anomalies that have lasted as long as they have when you're not a Beyonce or now a Kendrick or, all of that. So she is correct. But then she's the reason why is where she goes off the rails. She's like, and they're trying to stop me and they're trying to kill me and da 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 da. And she goes into that. Like, no, no, you're right here. But the why isn't lining up, or the how isn't
Yeah.
lining up. So that's where it is where I feel like I agree with you. I just don't know what the reason would be. Like, yes, nefarious, but for to what end? Um, I think that when it comes to like political movements, I see to what end. It fractures things and it makes it so that we don't move. But when it comes to like entertainment, I don't know what the reason is except for us just to be mad at each other and yelling at each other.
Yes.
But then what end though? Like
I think that's it. I think okay. You put the nail on the head. I think that is it. I think it's to cause confusion, to cause misalignment so that there is less of a collective voice, right? So that an Amanda Seals can say, can talk about Palestine in reference to Kamala and cause and lead to folks questioning their vote. And people be like, see, like I told you, like it's just
Mhm.
like this. There's less unification, and of course, Black people are not a monolith. We know that there's differences of opinions and experiences dawning back forever, right? But also, I think that they've seen glimpses of when Black people are aligned, and it's like, we don't want that. And we want men to be questioning women. We want women to be questioning men. We want there to be some infighting. We want there to be this confusion because they don't want the world that Deontay Kyle is proposing. Like, they don't want an alignment of Black critical thought, even if the thoughts aren't aligned, even if the thoughts aren't agreeing. There is something about creating a dialogue, and you see now
Mhm.
that Deontay Kyle is the Antichrist. Have you seen this?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Right? And it's like, who who would say that? And I get it, people don't agree with him. He said some things about Christianity. Got that. But it's like inserting the way that people are disagreeing
Mhm.
causes us to question, or causes some people to question, like, dang, should I be following Deontay Kyle? I don't know, right? It just creates this like cycle of confusion that I think there is I think there is enough evidence to show that we are at our weakest when we are beefing with each other.
Mhm.
That's how they can come in and kill our leaders. That's how they can come in and redline our communities. That's how they can come in and remove diversity programs from predominantly white institutions when we're disagreeing
Okay.
with each other. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's the art of war. We talked about this, I think, in our first episode, right?
Yeah.
The first one of our first episodes that we talked about. One of the rules of engagement, and what not rules of engagement, one of the war strategies, right? That they used to talk about in Kuwait and Iran and Iraq, and even when they were trying to get Gaddafi, one of
Probably
them,
Libya.
yeah, Libya, no, Manuel Noriega, right?
No, Nicaragua.
Nicaragua, and they would use music. They would take loud music and sounds and like frequencies that they would blast into these communities to keep people like, just get it to stop, and they'll do anything, like, just get it to stop, right? And I feel like on some level that's what they're doing internally to Black people to keep us like not paying attention to the real shit. So we know there's distractions, and that's real. But I just think there's another level of insidiousness that is more than just like, I don't like Tyler, or I don't like Kanye, or I don't like Nicki, or, oh, they get on my nerves. It's something a little bit more that is being done to keep us in this state of disarray, or
Yeah.
presumed disarray. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's okay. Psychological warfare, but also like psychological friendly fire for lack of a better. I do think Alexa, stop. I do think that I'll go back on what I said about harm because what it does do, it takes our eye off the ball, right? So like I'm thinking about all the fighting about whether or not Kamala should be interrupted at her book tour.
Uh-huh.
Where to some of us it's very obvious. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Like it's counterproductive, it's
Right.
counterintuitive. But the conversation becomes whether or not she should be interrupted. And during that time, homeboy is like literally destroying the White House, like literally like knocking out the east wing of the White House. And like things
Right.
are happening because we are so focused over here. I think the who is even all over the place. The group that is funding the people who go and interrupt Obama and Kamala, they're billionaires.
Right. Right.
They're
Right.
billionaire backers. from this backing the same people who say there are no ethical billionaires, but are fine taking the money from these people who are doing global damage in order to act as though they themselves are enacting a little bit of change in their or making an impact. I think it plays on the fact that everybody wants to feel as though they've had a part in something. That's why it's like, oh, we're the reason why she didn't win. Therefore, she must listen to us. When in actuality, no, you're not really.
Right. Right.
Therefore, you forcing her to pay attention to you is like, okay, I'm watching you now. Now what? What do I do? And then it turns into the performative. I want you to name and shame, which are
Right.
literally just words that somebody could say
Yeah.
and not mean anything by it. I think the performance is part of the perception of success or the succession or the perception of an accomplishment.
Mm, mhm.
So rather than like tangible, documented a trajectory of growth, it's like, well, what words did you use? Did you say it this specific way? And then that
Mm.
becomes the
Soundbite.
argument and the conversation, the way that you're supposed to say it. Did you say it the right way? Meanwhile, like things that actually need to get done are getting done. Using Tyler again as a sticking point, and some I was talking about, we don't know his politics. I was like, if you follow his Instagram, he is constantly posting about ICE. He's constantly giving people like, this is where you should go in order to avoid this. Like to say that he has no politics is because you're choosing not to see that. And so often it is a I choose not to see that because it does not make me feel morally superior to the people that I'm judging. It all goes down to like socio-political narcissism and the ability to feel. And I think Dante Kyle calls it racial low self-esteem. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that it fits across what's that word? Across intersections. It's intersectional. So it's
Mhm.
not just racial, it's also like sexual, it's also gender based, it's also economic. Like it's all I'm better than you even though you have more money. I'm better than you even though this. I might not do this, but I have more than you because I'm this. Like it's all that comparative low self-esteem being disguised as righteousness and moral good.
Yeah. Something else that the Tyler conversation sparked in me was, and I saw a homegirl of mine on Instagram put out like, there were so many heartfelt reactions to his passing,
D'Angelo.
and say it again, from
D'Angelo.
D'Angelo
Mhm.
to D'Angelo's passing, and it continues to highlight a couple things. One, I can't remember, Diane Keaton passed away the week before, a couple days before, and I probably saw 2 or 3 people, white people, share condolences, RIP. The last white person that passed away where I remember an outpouring of RIPs from white people was Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Like, that's
Mhm.
literally the only person I can remember, like, damn, when she passed, like, people were really hurting. That was another aspect of this reflection that I'm still that's half baked right now, but I'm baking it. It's cooking. That the internet is fueled by the tears of Black people, and by the grief, and by the sorrow, and by the violence, and by how many ways can we see Black people down bad, that even the fact that Tyler's white fans used his grief for one of our icons, as a launching point for, going back to 15-year-old tweets. I think that it just highlights another, I don't know, another discrepancy behind how Black people are centered or not centered online. All that to say, I think that there is some enjoyment or some like magical wonderment on how we grieve and how we celebrate even, like how we share joy, how we emote, right? I think that the same way that, you've talked about it before, how on TikTok there's certain aspects of Black culture that are mimicked and that are copied down from like, vernacular that we use, accents, clothes, our dances. I think on some level, our emotions are commodified. Is that the right word? Are used, it's fuel, man. It's fuel. Like that's the analogy I keep on coming back to. Every time I'm like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But no, I feel like our tears, our joys, our wonderment fuels the internet only to be used against us in the
But
long run. Only to be like, yeah, that's my half baked theory. I'm baking it though. There's I'm a verbal processor, so like I have to talk it through to make it make sense. But that's like they didn't even know who D'Angelo was. Like
yeah,
they it wasn't even as much as he meant to so many of us. Not one white person I knew was like, dang, like D'Angelo, like not one.
yeah.
I still know a lot of white people. I work with the white group of people, and not one. I was like, dang, like, but when Diane Keaton died, we had a whole conversation, like, damn, Diane Keaton, that's so sad. It's just, I don't know, it's something about it that's
Well,
just rubbed me
I
the wrong.
think, and perhaps this is one of the few times that I actually feel kind of cynical. I put a lot of blame on the recently blacks. I think that they're the ones who are spearheading a lot of
All right,
this. I do. I think they're spearheading a lot of this because of their connection to white people, because they still are either seeking approval or seeking, again, low racial self-esteem, where they can say, I am better than, or I can now control the people who made my upbringing miserable because they wouldn't accept me into their group. I think the recently blacks are a lot to blame. They're the ones who attempt to set protocols and standards around blackness that excludes people who do not engage the same way they do social political, if not at all. It is like when people say that they're championing black causes, and the people that they are championing are like, well, no, we don't want that. We actually do want to back up. Let me back up. And I'll use this as an example. No, they're not black people. It's the way that people in Gaza were saying, no, please vote for Kamala. Please, I'm begging you to vote for her. And it was people outside of there who were like, no, we know what's best. We know what's
right,
best for you. We're
right.
you don't really want her. She's just as bad. We're gonna, on your behalf, we're going to let this other guy win because it's best for you, even though it is actually just best for us. And I think that a lot of
Right.
the recently blacks are doing that, where their
Who are the
ideas,
recently blacks?
huh?
Who are the recently blacks? Like young
The black
people?
since Ferguson's. They're black people. They're black since Ferguson's. They were didn't engage with black people at all until Twitter. They got a Twitter account and they're like, "Oh, I'm black."
Oh,
If you look at them, all of their childhood friends are white. Their partners are white. They went to white schools. They lived in white neighborhoods, and then they got online and became like the blackest people and were able to dictate
oh, okay, okay.
and whatever. They're doing so on behalf of white people. They're the ones who feel like there always has to be a revenge plot against white people under the guise of I'm doing this for us, when it's like, no, you're mad because Jason didn't like you in the fourth grade, and this is how you get back at him. It
Okay, okay, okay. Is that a thing? Is that like not a thing, but like is that like a widely expressed group of like a widely known group of people? Because
well,
it makes perfect sense to me. I just
I
never heard them
coined the
categorized.
phrase. I coined the phrase recently blacks and blacks since Ferguson. I'll take responsibility for that. I've had conversations about it. People don't really, unless until you point it out, especially when you recognize that a lot of these people have white partners. That's what made me like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, hold on. You talk all this shit about white people, but your wife,
Yeah.
your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend is white. Like what's the
Yeah.
disconnect there? And then when you go back
Mm,
and then the conversations, like even and this is where I have a conspiracy theory. This is my
okay.
conspiracy. I think a lot of these people have no idea who D'Angelo is. They know, they've heard of him. They have no emotional connection to his music at all. So what
Yeah.
better way to pivot out of that than to decide that all this other stuff is more important? Now we're going to talk about this because we can't really truly mourn. Like when you talk about the people who are talking about, you can tell because D'Angelo represents a time in their life. Like to me, that was like sophomore year of college. I know exactly what was going on. I know all the music that
Yeah.
came out. I know everything. I have an emotional attachment to him based on like most entertainment and music, based on, oh my
Yeah.
God, hold on. Based on where I was and what I was doing at that time. If I have no emotional attachment to art, specifically Black art, that I'm able to dissect it in a way that completely removes it from the cultural impact that it has. So it's like, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what the cultural impact is. This is the part that I don't like. So we're erasing all of that. And it's because these people do not have a connection to it. They have no connection to a D'Angelo. They have no connection to any of these people. So they can say, when James Earl Jones died, they found an interview from 1967 when he was talking badly about Black women. Now, let me be clear. Fuck that. That's weird. Why'd you do that? He was still Mufasa. I'm sorry. He was still
Right.
King Joffrey. Like to say none of
Right.
that matters because of this interview from 1967, I can't agree with that. As a Black person who understands the cultural significance of these people, I'm not worshiping them as people, but I'm not erasing the culture impact. It doesn't not matter anymore. And I'm seeing that a lot of this turns
Right.
into, oh, well, it doesn't matter at all because of this part. And I think that is
Mm,
anti-Black in that Black people don't think like that. The same way, this is connected, the same way I think being a flat earther is anti-Black because for centuries, ancestrally, we navigate the world based on the fact that it is round, where the stars are positioned,
right.
how we travel, like all of that stuff. So for me, it is
Yeah.
anti-Black to divorce Black culture from Black people because of something that is more connected to whiteness and how white people think of us and how we maneuver around white people. Having white people on your
Yeah.
mind so much, and a lot of these politics to me are being enacted again carcerally, the way that white people engage with it. I think our difference
Yeah.
is that you are putting it on, or you're placing it with white people, and I agree there, but I'm also still like, why are we doing this? Why are we always doing this? Like continuously without fail. Why is this the conversation that we have in the way that makes it difficult for us to place things within proper historical context? I don't know. I think
When you
I
say
think
why are we doing it? When you say why are we doing this, you mean like why are Black people doing this?
why are we engaging in this? This is this
Why are
it's
we engaging?
yeah, this level of this lack of grace, this lack of humanization, this lack of perspective, this need to punish, all of that is anti-Black. We don't do that. We learned that.
See, we are saying the same thing,
No,
Bossy.
we're
We
not.
are
You're putting
saying
it
the
on
same thing.
white people. I'm saying, why are we paying attention to what they're putting on us? Okay, you're right. You're right. We are taking the same thing.
I was like,
See how
you're
easy
saying
it is
it. You're
to
saying it.
correct? See how easy it is to course correct
Huh?
when you're wrong or when you have more
Yeah, no.
information?
That's the thing that's so crazy. What you were describing, everything you were describing, we're not like this, we don't punish, all that is white supremacy,
Mhm.
right? Like all of that are the core tenets of white supremacy. And that's the part where I have this like I have this idea in mind. It's purely, I don't even know. It's a vision that there is a way that I don't know has been explored. I'm sure it has been explored. I'm not gonna make my thought like so supreme, but like I think that there is a way to talk to white people about white supremacy without making them feel guilty. Because I think that guilt and shame that white people feel when we talk about whiteness causes them to put a wall up and they don't digest it because they're like, oh, that's not me. I'm not racist. Like, I'm not racist. Like, that's the shit that they be responding to. They don't
Yeah.
be responding to the racist shit. They be responding to people calling them racists,
Mhm.
right? And so I just have this
It's knee
idea
jerk.
of like, what can we create? Yeah, it's knee jerk, and it's guttural. It's a human reaction. It's almost the same shit like we were talking about when we blame our kids for shit they didn't do, and they had that reaction. Like before you even hear, like you didn't even hear what I'm accusing you of.
Hmm.
White people do the same thing whenever you bring up the word race,
Hmm.
right? Like I'm not even talking about you. Like why are your reaction is fucking racist? But
Yeah.
okay, but I think that, right, this is something that has removed so much of the, I don't want to say it's guilt. It's not guilt. It's removed so much of the human of the feeling that I feel without being able to describe it because I know white people. I'm in community with white people on a regular basis. Like I work around them. I went to a white school. I have friends that are white. And so sometimes because I've always linked it to like me being an empath, like me being empathic or
Hmm.
empathetic is like when I'm in spaces around white people and I'm like beating white people up about being racist, I'm like, damn, like they're not gonna hear me. Like, how can I soften the message? And that is wrong. Like, we shouldn't do that. Like, we shouldn't have to do that. But I can understand that it's not about white people. It is. It is, right? Like we know it is. It is about white people. But we can remove the personal aspect of it when we talk about white supremacy as a whole. And some of the most directly white supremacist people are people that are not white. That's how the cloak of white supremacy
Mm.
indoctrinates all of us, right? And so I just recently saw Deontay Kyle. I think it was Deontay Kyle. I don't think it was on a podcast. It might have been on one of his, he was talking on Twitter or somewhere. And he was saying like, the thing about white supremacy is that it's really a white deficit. And
Mm.
because there's this white deficit nature, the cause to overreact and over respond with white supremacy is, in terms of terminology, like coining it supreme,
Mm.
creates all the things we're talking about. And so I don't remove, like, I want to take Black people off of the hook for being directly impacted by white supremacy. Is that wrong?
Say a
Because
little bit more. Like what?
that because we talked about this in Charlie Kirk. We talked about this, during Charlie Kirk when there were Black people that were criticizing other Black people for defending Charlie Kirk.
Mm.
And while I don't agree with that, and I don't do that, I think that's ridiculous for a Black person to defend Charlie Kirk. I'm also not going to publicly like badmouth or dog out a Black person
Mm.
for defending Charlie Kirk because ultimately they are under the evil spell of white
Mhm.
supremacy,
Okay, I see
right?
that.
And if we acknowledge white supremacy, the concept of white supremacy, not white people being supreme, but the concept and the ideology of white supremacy, and we know its insidious nature. We know how impactful it is. We've seen the idea of white supremacy ruin nations and
Mm.
take out countries and cause a harm and destruction across the world. If one Black person is impacted by that and it causes them to defend Charlie Kirk or defend Clarence Thomas or defend Kanye West or whatever, then it's like, okay, I'm going to have more grace on that black person because we know how insidious white supremacy is
Yeah.
that, some people just might be susceptible to that. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, it's insidious in that it fools people into thinking that they can somehow get it when it is by nature exclusionary of anybody but white people. But going back to what you said a little bit earlier, I've been of the firm belief, and I've kept this to myself, that how you speak to people is just important as what it is that you say. Because when people say they got offended, well, I mean, you're literally telling them that they're responsible for all the ills of the world. And yes, yes, white people are, but you're talking to this specific white person, and you need to talk to that specific white person and get them specifically to understand what's going on. Because the most well-rounded, well whatever person is going to be defensive when confronted in certain ways. It's just human nature. You're going to be immediately defensive. You're going to immediately like, well, fuck it, I'll be that then. It's just human nature. Like think that when we start having these conversations that are umbrellaed, and we use these umbrella concepts to speak directly to individuals, it's going to be mixed or missed.
Mhm.
As much as I agree we shouldn't have to, we do need to, if the point of all of this is to be different, is to make things better. So are things supposed to be better? Are we supposed to
Yeah.
make things better? And this is where I over the years, like uh uh divested from like the far leftist kind of ideology, because there's no room for improvement.
Yeah.
It only succeeds if things either get worse or stay terrible. um this whole concept
Right.
of
So true.
revolution is destroying everything, and the people who are most impacted by that are the people who are currently impacted by way things are, like poor people, people
Yes.
of color,
Yeah.
disabled people. Those are the people that are going to suffer under this revolution that you keep touting. But there's no thought about that because you're focused on this. So if you talk about it, if you're able to say, like, I couldn't go to my father, who was very left thinking. He's liberal. That's why we all are, and be like, "Oh, we're gonna burn the house down because it's gonna be better for everybody else if our house is burnt." The fuck are you talking about? No.
Yeah.
Like, are you what? No.
Mhm.
But that's
Right.
different than
Right.
than we're going to build something that is inclusive of all of us. That's going to help. I'm not going to take your shit. I'm not going to burn your shit down. I'm not going to take your guns and your women. You can keep all that. But this is what's necessary for all of us to be a little bit better at this. Do you know how many white people don't know all the things that they don't have because of white supremacy and racism? They have no idea that they don't have health
Exactly.
insurance, low college tuition, but we speak to them as though they know this. They don't know this. They have no idea that this is what
No,
the reason is.
no.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
So they have to be educated. The same education, like it's not our job to educate. How are they going to know that the reason why they have allergies is because all the fruit trees are male, and all the fruit trees are male because they don't want them to have fruit, and the reason why they don't want to have fruit is because they need to work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know that. You just found out because you're on
Right.
TikTok.
Right.
Like, how are they supposed to know? Like, these are
Right.
certain things that these are the conversations that need to be had. It doesn't have to be adversarial every single time. It doesn't have to be, because another thing that happens while I'm here, I'm gonna get canceled anyway. Another thing that happens is we attack people personally about general things and then take it personally when they don't get it. When again, it is still this umbrella macro situation. We take it micro personally, and that's not helpful.
Yeah.
Again, I go back and I keep going back to Tyler because I keep getting these notifications about my post. What do you want? Do you want people and things to be better, or don't you? What is the end goal in all of this? I thought the end goal was for things to be better. I thought that's where we were going. I didn't know that the end goal was for things
Yeah.
to be equally destroyed.
Like what's happening?
Right. And for them to curse you out. And for them to like
And be okay
belittle
with it
you
and take it.
as like you
Yeah.
individually.
Yeah.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
know what I hate even more? Like I would rather take a white supremacist racist than these fucking white people who are like, you're right. White people are terrible. On behalf of white people, I apologize. And like, fuck that. I don't want that. But that's what they're
Sentiment.
asking for. They're
Yeah.
asking for that performance. I don't want that either. Like, just stop talking
Yeah.
about shit and stop agreeing with things. And like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that right there. That right there. To me, like this is why I love our conversations because I feel like to me, as I'm reflecting on this episode as we get ready to close, like I'm thinking like, damn, like we're all over the place, like I'm trying to rein it in. Like it seems so obtuse, but that is because it is, right? We're talking in circles because the information is coming to us in circles, it's coming to us in
Mhm,
waves. It's intentionally obtuse in certain ways and very specific in other ways. And we're left to like fight amongst the scraps, like to figure out who's right, who's wrong. What does it look like when someone's right versus wrong? And so, I mean, I think all of it is showcasing for me that it is essential for us to be able to think critically.
mhm,
And so when all of these, with the dawn of AI, and we know that it's being used in these in different ways, I think that as a collective, we're moving away from critical thinking.
mhm,
We're moving away from, scholarly, not scholarly like you got to go to school, but scholarly in terms of, looking at all sides of a story, looking at all perspectives, and also being well versed enough to say, no, I'm not going to look at it from your side because you're a racist
mhm,
and
mhm,
because your experiences are demeaning to me and they're belittling me and my culture and my people, and I'm not going to listen to you, and I'm going to disengage,
mhm,
period. Right. And knowing like what's that time look like, when does that happen? And I think that these skills we're talking about are going to be even more critical as information begins to look different, right?
mhm.
Like the president is sending memes
Oh,
of him shitting on people. You
mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like, and
With a crown.
so in the same time, right, at the same time, my mom is asking me, is this real when a baby tells his grandmother, your breath stinks? Like an actual infant. And my mom was
Yeah.
like, "Is this real?" And I'm like, "You think this is you think
Yeah.
this is real?" You know what I'm saying? So it's just like
The flavor rep.
it's this, how we're processing. What'd you say?
There's no never mind. It's good. Go ahead.
No, yeah. So I mean, I just think it's time for all of us. I think especially marginalized people to just be more intentional about our what we are digesting, what we are taking in online, where it's coming from, who benefits from our engagement, like who benefits from me and Bossy beefing online, who benefits from and who benefits and who's hurt by that.
Mhm.
Because I think ultimately all of it is intentional. And maybe we don't know what it's for yet, but it's all by design. And all of the shit that looks happenstance when it comes to this country is by design. And we just have to be aware of that, I think.
Well, I think that just going back on what you said really quickly, I think that something that you mentioned is important too, where there are going back to the art of war, everybody has a role and a position to play. And right now, people are trying to play all the roles in the same position. There are some people whose job, quote unquote, should be to educate. There are some people whose job is to be provocative and agitate things. We all have different roles, and to expect all of us to have the same role in the same way and expect things to move in any direction is literally uh the laws of physics say that that can't happen. It's not how things work.
Right.
Also, I
Right.
remember when I was in college, part of our requirements was taking a critical thinking course, either rhetoric or I think there was
Uh-huh.
one called like I don't know if it was an art of debate, but you had to like defend a position, whatever the position is, you have to defend it. Um, these were required classes, and I don't think that that happens anymore. And part of my this is where I get a little bit conservative. I don't think that colleges should be the place where people aren't allowed to get things wrong. Those are the places where you're supposed to get things wrong and then able to get them right because you're supposed to be able to articulate
Yeah.
your thoughts. I don't want a professor whose politics are very, very clear in either direction because that's not their job. Their job is to help us figure out or help kids figure out how to formulate their thoughts and create their opinions, not dictate what those thoughts and opinions are on either side. And I think that we've lost the neutral space. And it is difficult to say that because when we were coming up, the right wasn't this. It was just like some
Yeah.
disagreements. It's just
Yeah.
like, I don't like war. I do. Like that was, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't, I don't think you have the right to
Right.
exist. It wasn't that. So, and I think a lot of that has to go with the fact
Yeah.
that you're not allowed to argue with each other in a way that doesn't turn into mass murder.
Mm.
And also back to
Yep.
it, we need to start
Completely
validating
agree.
people's experiences. You didn't do it, but it did happen to them. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that you believe that the reason why X happened is because you grew up this way. Let's validate that. Oh, word, they did that. I wonder why they did it. This might be why they did it, rather than that didn't happen. It didn't happen. Whatever it is you
Yeah.
said didn't happen
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
not my experience.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
now that we've
Yep. Yep.
saved the world and figured it all
Agreed.
out,
Agreed. We did it. We
we
did
did
it.
it.
You're welcome.
Success.
Man, well, we absolutely did it. But another awesome episode, Bossy. Thanks for helping me to helping us to like put words in place. I think that's just so important. Like I have the thoughts and I can't sometimes put my
So you
like
talk it out. You talk it
label
through.
them in a real way. Yes, yes, yes. Well, folks, thank you for joining us again. Again, find us on all the things, all the places you enjoy podcasts. And I don't have my ending script. Keep finding the peace in the river and the joy in the mountains.
Yeah.
And we'll holler at you next week.
Yes. Yes. And leave Tyler alone, for
Thank
God's
you.
sake.
Thank you.
Jesus.
Peace.
So I have two things to say that I couldn't say online. The what?